crystal grids are grids made with crystals that are intended to focus your intentions for manifesting them. Some people have said that making a crystal grid is like sending your intention out into the universe. And from my point of view, it kind of feels like sending my prayers out to God, but in a more almost focused manner with the support of crystals. So we just had a full moon, or we will be having a full moon as of this recording, or as of the posting of this video. And so I figured we'd do 3 crystal grids. We're going to do a full moon crystal grid. And then, because abundance and success came up as the crystals for our monthly video, we're going to be doing a success grid. And then, because I thought it'd be kind of neat and fun to try, we're also going to be doing a grid that helps with connecting with angels. So if you're following along and you have any of these crystals, awesome. I'm excited to do this with you guys. For those of you that are tuning in and this is your first time, thank you for stopping by my video, my channel, and checking me out. This is mostly for fun and tasty sound. You don't have to take any of this too seriously, but if you find that this is helpful, or you resonate with anything in this video, or even if all you get is some really good tingles, then I'm happy to have worked a little bit of light in your life. So I think for maximum power, we're going to be starting with the full moon grid. And all of these grids, I think except for, I think I had everything that was for the full moon grid. The other 2 grids are going to be modified slightly, just based on the types of crystals that I have. You can find all of these grids on Ethan Lazarini's blog. But again, I did have to substitute some of these crystals because I didn't have the ones that were needed. But for the full moon, we're going to start with selenite, and perhaps I should talk a little bit about how crystal grids are made. Typically in the center, you will have like your main focus stone, and actually you can see here on this crystal grid, print out by Mindful Souls, which is where I got some of my gridding supplies. You can see in this printout that the middle stone is usually the focus stone, and that's going to be your biggest stone of the grid. It also, if you like to do this, will have your intention note underneath. So sometimes when you're making a crystal grid, some people like to write a note that clarifies their intentions for that crystal grid, and then they'll put it under the main, the focus stone of that grid. And then the rest of the stones, this particular grid says that for this style of grid, because there are also different types of crystal grids, different shapes based on sacred geometry. So the seed of life, or we're going to be using the flower of has these inner stones between the focus and the outer stones, and this one calls them the way stones. So it kind of allows for the energy to flow through the grid. And then the outer stones are the desire stones, which allows you to send your desires out into the universe. And again, Ethan Lazzarini is far more knowledgeable on this than I am. You can find his books, Crystal Grids Power and Crystal Grids Power 2, on his website. Far more information there. But yeah, so our focus stone is going to be the selenite. And then we have some moonstone. And for this grid, we're going to be using only 3 moonstone tumbles. So I'm going to see. I'll take this one out. 3 moonstone tumbles. I'll set this one aside. And then we will also be using what is called rainbow moonstone, which is actually not a variety of moonstone, but labradorite, also known as white labradorite. They're all feldspars, so all in that same crystal family. But we're going to be using some white moonstone. Very makes sense because we're doing a full moon grid. I'm going to pick 3 of these. They're so pretty. This is the first time since I actually got my gridding supplies that I've opened up some of these bottles. This one is yelling at me. And I think this one, they're so pretty. And this one, it's really good. And I think I did say this, short-term memory is malfunctioning a little bit. But again, we're going to be using the Flower of Life grid. I don't have one printed out, so I'll use my Seed of Life to assist me. That's all the moonstone we need. And then, or rainbow moonstone. And then we're going to be using clear quartz. Excuse me. And for this one, we need 12 of these. So I'm going to pick out some of these. And it's better if they're like pointy. 3, 4. I like this one. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. I sincerely hope I counted those correctly. Okay, looks like we've got the requisite number. I had something I was going to say and then I forgot it. I'll remember it. don't want it to be too big in comparison to your other stones, or else it will practically dwarf the rest of your stones. And now that I'm looking at this piece of selenite in comparison to the other stones, I'm thinking I'm going to choose a smaller one. So I'm actually going to be using this nice little selenite. It's very wand-like, and I actually have a wand that came with my gridding set, but you can already see that the size difference is so much better. Okay, so we have our crystals for the crystal grid. Some people like to activate their crystals before they make their crystal grid. So what they'll do is they'll hold all the crystals, or at least this is the way I learned from Ethan Lazzarini. But you hold all of your crystals in your palm. Make sure they're cleansed, by the way, before you do any of this. But you hold your cleansed crystals in your palms, raise them up to your third eye chakra, and you repeat your intention. You set your intention for the crystal grid, for the crystals, and then you can arrange them in the grid. Some people also, or either, use an activation wand. So this is the activation wand I got in the crystal gridding crit from Mindful Souls. And typically you use the activation wand after you've arranged the crystal grid. So that's the version that I'm going to be using today. And lastly, some people, as I said, like to write a note and put it under the focus stone of their crystal grid. Now, the full moon is about gratitude, being grateful for things that you have in your life. So instead of writing a note of intention for what you want this crystal grid to help you accomplish, we are going to write a gratitude list. And I have some absolutely lovely moon paper, or moon sticky notes here. So we're just going to write we're just going to write a list of things that we're thankful for. I'm going to say I'm thankful for because what's most important often are the people that support you. For me, my family, and my friends are some of the things that I don't always tap into because I am a bit of I am an introvert. I like my own time. I like being by myself a lot. So my family and my friends are my safety net. I can fall back on them when I feel that need for companionship, when I crave socialization. And my family and my friends are all really cool people, so I'm really grateful to have them in my circle. In this world, having a good, stable job with good benefits is really important. I feel like sometimes I do lose track of that a little bit because of the issues that the job has sometimes, or the or the negatives of the job. But at the end of the day, I do find joy and fun in my job, and it does have a good amount of benefits. So I'm grateful for that. Sometimes it's the little things in life, things that nourish you, things that make you happy. And I always love good food, a good meal, something really tasty. It's never failed to make me happy. And something good to drink as well. Something like tea. I've always loved tea, and you've seen me brew tea here on my channel. I also love, like my juices and stuff like that. So hydration is good. It's very necessary. Food and drink are especially necessary for survival, but it is especially enjoyable when you can find good food that makes you happy and makes that serotonin go up, or that dopamine. And this is a very, very important one to me. I am the kind of person who, if it has to do with personal preferences or needs or anything like that, if somebody tells me to do something that I wasn't terribly keen on or don't want to do, I will definitely not do the thing. And I appreciate my freedom, my ability to say no and basically clap back almost and do what it is I believe that is right. Especially in this world, I feel like a lot of us take our freedom for granted. So that's why I'm writing it on this list. I'm grateful for what I have and what I'm able to do. So I think that's a pretty good list. And we are going to fold this down so that it doesn't sticky all over the place. This really is like the perfect paper for a full moon list. So I'm going to fold it up. And last time I did any crystal grids, which was also the first time I ever did a crystal grid, I folded my note up really small, but then again it was also kind of like a thin strip. It can be however big or small as you want, I suppose. Depends on the paper that you're doing. Okay, I think that's good. So we're going to place that in the center, and I am aware that it is covering up some of the spots. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna fold it up one more time. And one thing I used last time I made the crystal grid was my center crystal didn't feel big enough, so I actually put it on a stone crystal sphere holder, which seemed to let it a really nice touch. And I used a sphere holder, the only one that I had, and you guys have seen it on my channel before. I used one that I felt went with the theme of or the intention of the grid I was making. So we have made our note, and it is time to make our crystal grid. We're going to start with the focus stone. That's not gonna fit. focus stone. And then we do the regular moonstone. We're going to put this on the topmost point and make a triangle with it. Next, we're going to use the rainbow moonstone. And I'm going to have these pointing outwards. We're going to put them in between the regular moonstone. And then lastly, we are going to use our clear quartz. And we're going to be putting it on all of these points pointing outward on the edge of the crystal grid. So the seed of life goes as this size of a grid. The flower of life is basically an extended seed of life, so it's bigger and it's got more of the pattern. So a normal flower of life would be like a bit bigger. But I also have points at the sections where I'm going to put half of these clear quartz. This pointing outward. And then normally there would be points here. But we're just working with a seed of life, so we're just going to do it the best way that we can. I'm going to be honest though, I'm already loving how it's shaping up, and that makes me excited for the other ones that we're going to do tonight. Point them all outwards. I think Ethan Lazzarini also says to have the crystals on your grid pointing outwards so that it's basically like sending your message into the universe. Or in my case, to God. Alright, and now some people like to take their activation wand. So what you're going to do first is you're going to tap each of the crystals, and I like to do a little swirly motion after I've done that. But you're going to tap each of the crystals with a wand, starting with a focus stone and working your way outwards. And keep your intention in mind. For this one, we want the intention of gratitude, of thanking God for what I wrote, or in my case, it's me thanking God for the things I wrote down on my list. Awesome. Now this grid is activated. One question you may be thinking is it okay to have so many crystal grids in close proximity? I'm not the expert on this. Again, Ethan Lazzarini knows much more than I do. But I don't think necessarily that the energies will conflict per se. I think it's going to be alright. They're small grids too, in a small space, so I think it'll be fine. Next, we're going to be doing the success grid. So for this one, we're going to need our citrine. And then I believe there was another one that he suggested was tiger's eye. I don't unfortunately have any large tiger's eye yet, just a small piece. So you can substitute one side, or any variety. I think red, green, or yellow varieties of aragonite, which I don't have any of either. But the intention for this one is having to do with overcoming obstacles. So I've substituted with unakite, which should hopefully bring a similar effect. Sorry. And for this one, we're going to need 8 unakite. I've not actually worked with unakite before, so it'll be interesting to see how this goes. Kind of feels nice, actually. I'm surprised. We need 8. And again, tumbles are fine, but pointier tumbles help with like sending the energy out, the intention out. This looks like an agate to me. It's interesting. Interesting to see what they've packed. These the crystal gritting kit. Actually, I like. Crud! I can't decide. I can't decide. There's some really good ones in here. Okay, this one, I will use that one. So, we have our 8 unakite. And I picked unakite in particular because the other crystal, the last type of crystal in this grid is jade, and I figured the greens would go together. A little bit of color synchronicity for some extra power, you know what I mean? You can also substitute jade with, I think citrine or clear quartz as well, but since I had jade, you gotta use it right. This one might have a little bit of a hard time. Come on, let go. I have a bunch of other tumbles that you guys will, there you go, end up seeing in one of my collections videos. And I had some jars that I actually had, sand in, like colored sand. I have like a bunch of little jars that had like fun colored sand, potions, if you will, in. And I decided to repurpose those for holding my gritting crystals, like my gritting chips from Kiki Crystal. Well, the corks on like 2 of them disintegrated, or actually the corks were pushed in so far that I basically had to pick them out. I had to pluck them out, like use something pointy and sharp to get them out, and that basically destroyed the corks. I have 2 that the corks are in okay and usable condition, and then the last one, the cork ended up being pushed into the bottle, so I can't figure out how to get it out. And I'd really like to have the bottle be usable. Anywho, side tangent. So we're going to pick out 3 jade for the last. There's some really good specimens here. I like these ones. And to me, this looks like a mixture of like jadeite and nephrite. If any of you are like solid crystal people, you'll know that jade is actually 2 varieties. There's jadeite and there's nephrite. Anyway, these look like really good ones to have on the outer side. Ooh, I really like that color combination. A lot of prosperity. I think really good for our moon. I find this really interesting. So for my first monthly video, second one, we pulled aventurine. And then for my third one, we've pulled jade and pyrite. I feel like we've got a message, a theme of abundance going for this year so far, which I find very, very funny. But I think we need all the abundance we can get. So I'm not going to write intention notes for these. They can help to add nuance or streamline your intentions, but I don't feel like these ones need it particularly. So this one, I believe, this one uses a circle, and a triangle and combines them together. So we're going to put our citrine in the middle. And actually, I could probably use a smaller citrine. You know what? That's what I'm gonna do. This is a really awesome, focus one, but it works with bigger stones. Okay, this size looks much nicer. And, I'm just gonna say, I really, 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 really love the look of my full moon grid. It's so delightful. I just love seeing the geometry. This is why sacred geometry is a thing. It really is a thing. Okay. There is our citrine that we're going to use. So we're going to put that in the middle. Next, we're going to take our unakite. All 8 pieces. And we're going to put them in a circle surrounding the citrine. And you want them pointing outwards. Again, you're sending your intentions out into the universe or towards God. Let's see if I can get the geometry to go. It'll look really, really nice. I swear, Ethan Lazzarini, I'm gonna keep bringing him up, but again, he is the foremost expert I know of. I'm sure there are others, but he is the one that I know most about crystals. He's the one that I know that knows most about crystals. And I really use his articles as a guide for when I was starting out on my own crystal journey. And he has some really great crystal meditations as well on his channel. And also just gridding and advice and everything like that. And as of recording this video, which is before I am posting the monthly and the weekend videos that will come before this video is posted, I have not actually seen Ethan's, I've not actually watched Ethan's September monthly reading, so it'll be interesting to see how much synchronicity there is between his and mine. I always find that kind of fun. Ever since I started the monthly readings, I found it kind of fun to compare our readings and see how much synchronicity there was. Okay, back to the crafting. We're going to take our jade last of all and put it in a triangle shape. Okay, that looks, there we go. And now we're going to take my handy dandy selenite wand and activate it with intentions of success. If there's anything particular you want success in, or perhaps it should be success in growth and abundance. So we're going to activate. excited about. We are going to do a connecting to angels grid. So here we are going to do some celestite. Now this is one that I've had to kind of modify a lot, or more than, maybe about the same as the success one in regards to which crystals I'm using. I believe the focus was supposed to be an angel ore quartz, which I do not have any of, which I'm sad about, but that's definitely one for the list. So instead of angel ore, I'm using my lovely why do I keep saying selenite? Celestite. I'm using my lovely celestite tower. This is one that I cannot remember if I've ever, I don't think I've ever shown this one before, but I ordered this one from probably Onboard Crystals on Etsy, and it's just such a beautiful light blue color. I absolutely love celestite. And we got more celestite here. Now the inner circle between the focus and the desire stones for this connecting to angels grid is actually supposed to be celestite. So I've got exactly 6 tumbles here exactly 6 tumbles that I ordered, that I got from World Incense store. Absolutely beautiful. And a good size to go with my point. And lastly, the outer stones are supposed to be danbarite, but I don't have any of that. They're meant to be kind of like grounding the energy, providing a balance for the other stones and the energy, the angelic energy. So I'm going to be using iolite. And this is one that is not in my gridding kit. I ordered 3 bottles of different gemstones from World Incense, because they do have, you can do chips, little balls of chips from World Incense. One of a pretty large variety of crystals, and iolite is one that I hadn't seen it in person before, but I saw online, and its color was so beautiful, and I am in love with it. It's so lovely. So I'm using this instead of danbarite. And I believe I need 6 of these as well. Trying to find ones of similar size. There's such, variety in size here. Okay, and then I think probably this one. Okay. Just a lovely, lovely blue colored grid. I think this is one I saw on Ethan's site, and I was like, oh, that's so pretty, because it is with the angel aura quartz and the celestite and the danbarite. It's just such a lovely combination of blues and whites and clears. Absolutely delightful to look at. So I'd ordered, I'd gotten from World Incense store, I got iolite and moss agate and kunzite, because I didn't have those chips and I would really like to use them in gridding. They're probably not as typical gridding crystals, but you know what? We do things a little differently here. We do them based on intuition, which this is all intuitive, but I just figured this would be like really lovely crystals to use in gridding. But they have this thing where you can you can get buy three bottles of chips and get a fourth one free. You can't choose the fourth one though. They pick it for you. I think it's random. What's very funny to me is that they sent me a bottle of lapis, which I already have lapis in my gridding kit. So I just found it very, very amusing. Okay. So connecting with Angel's Grid, we are going to start with a celestite point. And in my opinion, I think it is okay for this to be a bigger crystal because we also have these bigger guys here, and the iolite is not terribly, well, it is smaller, of course, but it feels like a more natural flowing out, like size flowing out. So, we're going to put our celestite in a circle around, and actually, this grid uses Metatron's cube for the grid. Don't have it printed out with me, but Vio was smart and made diagrams of these beforehand to reference as she was doing them. One of these days, I'd like to get or make a gridding mat that has Flower of Life on one side and Metatron's cube on the other side, just kind of to like, have a good kind of variety, covering as many bases as I can of my grids. Okay, I think that will work. And then we're going to take our iolite and we're going to put it pointing outwards. Some of you might have this question of, if I bump my crystal grid, is that bad? And my answer is, as I learned, is no, it's fine. It's whatever. It still carries the intention. You can put it back and it'll be fine. What will deactivate the grid is you intentionally deactivating it yourself when you are done with it. So really, you don't have to worry about bumping it and disturbing the magic. Oops, I think we got a little bit of selenite chunking off. That's the thing with working with the satin spar. I will say this probably would be an even prettier grid with the danburite. But I'm liking the look of it. But yeah, the first time I made crystal grids, the beads, the crystals were sliding around a bunch. And I had put a cloth on top of this tray because, first of all, I was doing grids for Lionsgate, and so I'd put a cloth that had, it was a cloth furoshiki that had grains on it for some like extra, a boost, extra lucky. And of course, cloth on, like cotton on top of this kind of tray, there were edges, and the grids were a little bit big. And the other thing was, I had some substitutes for the crystals that the grid required, but those were beads, so I had to use beads instead of like regular tumbles. especially the outer ones, because we had some like up against these curved areas, and of course with a cloth over top. It was a recipe for rolling around. But like I said, it's totally okay if you accidentally bump your grid or like jog it or anything like that. It's fine. You just gotta put it back to how it was before, and you're all golden. So we're going to activate this last grid. I realized, oops, see, like I said, I just knocked the grid, but it's all cool. I just realized I didn't do the swirly motion when I did the other one, but it's fine. It's all how you feel. Okie dokie. So these are my grids for this coming month. This next lunar cycle. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you'd like any more of these, this type of video for Tingle Tuesdays. Yeah, I love y'all guys. I will see you next time. Stay sparkling.